Through strengths. Kara, how are we doing this week?
Absolutely fantastic. Yep, diving into August. How are you doing, Kristin?
It's good.
Yeah.
Life's good. We're almost through summer, getting ready to ship all those kids back to school, and you can feel that energy already kind of just rising,
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm right there with you. It's very exciting. So good luck to all y'all starting back up with school.
Yes. So today we're talking about self-assurance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super
so
exciting.
I'll give you the formal definition. So self-assurance, people who are especially talented in the self-assurance theme feel confident in their ability to manage their own lives. They possess an inner compass that gives them the confidence that their decisions are right. All right. And for me, it's 23. For Kara, you're 13?
It's 13 for me. Yes.
Yeah. So something that you definitely pull from.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we were sharing it with our prep session just a second ago, that recently I've really tuned in more to like, oh, this is how this theme has shown up in my life. And it's way more consistent than I realized. So that was cool to push myself a little bit and say like, all right, let's see how my top 15 really play in rather than just my top 5, which has been a good amount of my experience with CliftonStrengths. So broadening is like, wow, that's really cool. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I think I go up to about 13.
Okay.
After that, I feel like I fall off pretty quickly. So,
where'd they go?
Yeah. So let's talk about work. Where do you, no.
Yeah, just a quick visual.
I need a visual.
Yeah, no worries. I came up with a solo hiker. So someone on a really long trail, like the Pacific Coast Trail, the PCT, or Appalachian Trail. And really that just came from, shout out to Cheryl Strait, I believe. I think that's how you say your last name, who wrote Wild. So if you haven't checked it out, highly recommended. But just to have that fortitude to go out for literally miles for months of the stretch.
And it's not only that, but it's that confidence to do that on her own.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And to know that she's going in the right direction.
Yes. Yeah. I just got goosebumps, 100%.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. So how do you see self-assurance showing up in work?
Yeah, because it's so close to home, I actually came up with experience from my own time in central office days of Wake County Public Schools, public education, served on a team of 3, served all the high schools in the area, and it became pretty clear that instead of dividing the efforts to support the online portion of our support for the high schools, the online education aspect, to really it'd just be better to have one person in the team of 3 take on those responsibilities and get all the schools on the same page to identify at least a couple of universal practices, something that we can really all get around and rally and support our students and our families to have a consistent universal experience. And so when it was brought to our team from our leadership that would be best, it was a no-brainer for me to raise my hand and say, you know what, I'll take that on and be the joining force. And it turned out great. Really made a lot of strides, and it was a really powerful experience. So yeah, and I really happening. Yeah.
For you, so it was that confidence of you knowing that you could take that on and make the right decisions for, hundreds of thousands of people, right?
Yeah, it's the largest district in North Carolina, largest school district in North Carolina. Yeah, so the magnitude of it was like, wow, this is huge. And I don't want this in anybody else's hands if I can help it. So I'm, not that I don't have trust in everybody else. It was more, there's no need for them to put all their energy into this when I can do it and I've got the vision for it. And, if I need help, I'll raise my hand. And there were definitely times when I was like, hey, do you mind to tap in on this little piece here? Or can I get your thoughts on this? It wasn't a silo situation at all. It was so much more like, you know what? Let me set up this piece and then invite you in when it's something that we can actually work with and manipulate rather than this. I lovingly, and they know, that it all comes from love. We've been there, that I lovingly called it the Wild Wild West, because it was like 34 different ways of doing the same thing. It's just like, all right, y'all, we need at least a gas station and like a stoplight. Let's work. And it was powerful work. It's something that will unite us forever, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, I love it. And the example that I think of when I think of self-assurance is my best friend is like number 3 in self-assurance. And it always amazed me that she would come in with whatever we would be talking about, and she had a very black and white opinion. And for her, it was, no, this is what I would do. This is how I would handle that. This is, and it was never this, I don't know. And I'm several shades of gray, which we've talked about in the past. And a lot of it has to do with my strengths and how I'm built. So to have somebody have such clarity on what they would choose was always so interesting to me, and led to great discussions for sure between the two of us because of our different approaches.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what I see it is kind of an unwavering belief on how to handle things or get things done.
Right.
And I don't know if belief is the right word to use there, but it's
a conviction.
It is. Yeah.
For me anyway, that's the word that I would use.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And then, I just read before this too, which was very interesting to me, that this strength can be loud or soft depending on the strengths that surround it. And I think it's very true for a lot of strengths. It can be hardened or softened by your other strengths, but this one seems so much more pronounced in that, just because, the different examples we gave, were a little bit different. So just realize that too, based on your strengths surrounding it, this strength could just take on a little bit different life form.
For sure. Yeah. You're reminding me that growing up, my dad finally turned to me one day and said, you know what, for better or for worse, whatever you put your mind to, there's no stopping you. And so it was definitely one of those, like, also choose wisely, what you put your mind to, because there's no stopping you. So
yeah. And people with high self-confidence, I believe that they do that, right? There's always, Tammy always had the reason why she was doing something right at the tip of her tongue. So
it's not out of thin air by any means, right? Yeah,
correct.
It's thought through.
Yeah. Yes. It's very thought through. Okay, so how do we raise our hand for the things that we want to do to use that strength?
Yeah, I was thinking, honestly, when there are moments amongst your organization, within your team, wherever you sit it, where it looks just like a few too many cooks in the kitchen. You're like, there's a bit of chaos here. Let me just have the volunteer, of course. Volunteer say, you know what, I can offer up some streamlining here if you allow me the opportunity, and then go about it that way. That's my suggestion. How about for you?
Yeah, I was thinking hard decisions. If you're seeing a hard decision, and this can really happen at every level of an organization or within a small business or in your family, that, if we're needing to make a hard decision and nobody's willing to do that, grab the person with high self-confidence and just say, what would you do? And let's go.
Sure. Yeah, that self-assurance really reinforces, like, at least for me, what just popped in is that it's not a popularity contest. And that is 100%, I know for me, how I've lived my life, throughout my teaching career. Not every student liked me, and that wasn't the point. It's about everybody. Let's all move forward together. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're all going to agree all the time. And it's in the spirit of let's move forward. So
yeah, you're right. People with high self-confidence or self-assurance, I think, really do come in with, whether it's popular or not, it's the right thing to do. Let's go, and just take it
from our perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. As always, the reason we do this is we want you to have some control over your career and be able to ask for those things that you are good at doing, and your strengths are, right there in the forefront, and we want you to be able to take advantage of those.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks.
Next time.